Okay. Let me just start by asking you when you came, where you came from, why you came.
When I came in the 60s. Why I came to do a year's Spanish in Barcelona University. Mm-hmm. And what was the other? When, why?
Well, and where you came from.
Where I came from, Newcastle upon Tyne.
Uh-huh. And what was attracting you to Spanish? Why did you want to study Spanish?
Because I like languages. Uh-huh. I'm a language person. Uh-huh. Right?
And when you got here, was it more or less what you expected to find?
It was, no. I remember arriving, and they had from the airport to the terminal, they had a guagua. I don't know if you remember that, but they had this little bus, like something now you'd say out of South America. You know, and you got on this little bus, and you went past the streets, and again there was ploughing, you know, behind the horses. It was really like a step right back. It was a step right back.
People were ploughing between the airport and...
At the same time, Barcelona was very cosmopolitan. It had a very strong contrast. There was a very strong contrast there.
And life in a city, as a student, did you rent an apartment or a room?
No, I rented with people, with a family. I lived with a family.
With a Catalan family?
With a Catalan family, yes. Uh-huh.
And daily life pretty different?
And they looked after me like a daughter,
yeah.
Which meant that they didn't allow me to go out at night because people would get the wrong idea about me. It would not do anything for my reputation. And I had a boyfriend who later became my husband, and they said to me, I said, but you know, what do we want to go? If he loves you, he won't even ask you to go out at night. If he does, then he's the wrong person for you. I mean, it was really, I don't know, something like an Italian movie, you know, like sort of chaperone sort of thing. And the lady of the house, the person, the mother, yeah. Shall I say, when we started getting serious, she said, do you want me to go and investigate this chap? And I said, no, but she did. She went to where he lived, and she went round asking in the shops and things, getting opinion of the family, which is what they did then.
And she'd come back with a favourable verdict?
Well, I married him, so... So, you know, that they were a good family and serious and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Wow. Did they have a television in the house at that time?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I didn't have a television when I got married. We used to go upstairs to the neighbours and watch the television.
And it wasn't too much to watch, was it? Even if you had...
No, there wasn't. It was black and white, and it was, you know, it was nothing. It was awful, right?
And so you would you walk to school, or would you take a train to school?
I was on the Gran Via. I could get the tram along or the metro along, but usually the tram along or walk. It wasn't very far, you know. Gran Via. The university then was in the old building there, which was very nice. It was really very nice.
It is nice. Still nice.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You were studying Spanish?
Spanish, language, literature, geography, a complete course. It was very nice.
Before you came, were you sort of aware of the whole Catalan question?
No.
No.
I had, that's another story, one of my friends' father had been in the Navy, and he said to me, you're going to Barcelona, they don't speak Spanish in Barcelona. Rubbish, you know. And he said, no, they don't. And I thought he was pulling my leg until I got here. Right?
And did they speak Catalan in the house where you were?
They spoke Catalan, and I learnt Catalan then at the same time, you know, because there was a little, next door, they had a little 3-year-old, And sometimes they would leave this little 3-year-old with me. And he didn't understand anything else. And I wasn't shy about talking to him because I could make all the mistakes. It didn't matter, you know, I wasn't... And that's how I learned Catalan.
Mm-hmm. And were people reluctant to speak it in public, or did you hear it in public as well?
Well, there was a sort of, yes, the people I knew spoke Catalan. I knew a lot of people that spoke Catalan. There were a lot of people that now speak Catalan that wouldn't. They didn't speak Catalan. It was not sort of like the, some, not all, but some upper class families sort of, it was sort of more snob thing to do to speak Castellano.
And in general, how did you find the people? I mean, did people talk about politics at all?
No, and there was the marching, you know, on I don't know which day it is, when there was the parade of the sort of military parades through Barcelona, and I remember being at that, and I was with my then boyfriend and being silly. I was, you know, sort of ha 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 and this thing, and saying something silly about Franco, and he said, shh. You don't say things like that. It's dangerous. And that's when I sort of realised this is a dictatorship. You know, there are things you don't say, especially in a public place and something like that. Mm. Do you want to hear more about the sort of the courting side?
Yeah.
They
Sure.
had secret police that they were called like the courting police, and they used to hang around parks and places, you know, so if couples were sort of holding hands or kissing or anything, they would go and we'll have none of that there. Yeah.
Were they plain clothes or uniform police?
In uniform, but hidden. They weren't, you know, they weren't visible.
And did they
And
tap
they were
you
sort
on
of,
the shoulder?
but they were spying. They didn't tap me on my shoulder. No.
You and your boyfriend.
No, but it was a thing, yeah. It was incredible. It really was incredible. Right?
So there was a fairly rigid public order, I guess.
Yes. People say, you know, there was less crime, there was less this, there was less that, but there wasn't freedom, you know? There wasn't. It was okay if you were on the right side, sort of thing. If you behaved, you didn't say anything out of place, you know? That's, right?
And when was that in the 60s?
That was about 64.
And did you feel things changing as time went on in that sense, or?
No, things have changed sort of, well, when they killed Carrero Blanco, that's when it all started changing, and it still didn't change. It's sort of the past, 15 years or something, where it's really changed. Mm.
And how was it with the peseta in those days? Was it quite cheap to live in Barcelona in those years? I suppose that it was.
Yes. I was a student. So, you know, rents were very cheap because people easily rented places. I know that. You know, there wasn't a problem of housing. People could rent places, they changed house and so on. Right.
And was the church very much in evidence at that time?
Well, yes. But in a way it still is. You know, anything official is always backed by the church. I mean, the footballers go and take the trophy to the La Virgen de Montserrat or something, or wherever they go. You know, all that sort of thing. Franco went under, what do you call that, un palio? El palio? Which was something that's like a bishop or whatever, you know, there went Franco as well.
Okay. And how about poor people? Did you notice in those days, were there a lot of poor people or not?
There was a big difference. There was poorer people and the bourgeois, no? And I remember saying to somebody, there's no middle class here. And they said, we're the middle class. But in my view, they weren't middle class because they all had a cook and a maid you know, and that wasn't middle class to me, right? But they considered themselves to be middle class.
And people all had cooks and maids.
Yeah. And somebody to come in and do the ironing once a week as well, right? That was another one. You know, and very often a sewing lady would come once a week and do all the mending and everything. Yeah, well, quite a, you know, sort of, that sort of lifestyle.
Probably not much traffic car-wise in those days.
Not like now. Comparatively, it would be sort of like Valencia is now. That was Barcelona. Yeah.
And where were you when Franco died? Do you remember where you were on the day?
Yes, I was at the Palau de la Música. And we came out and everybody was saying Franco's died. Yeah. That's how I remember it, yeah.
And what was the general sort of ambiance? People worried or happy or both? Or?
Happy. Happy. Opening bottles of cava and, you know, really happy. Yeah. And then there came the golpe de Estado, you know, when... Tejero.
Where were you on that day?
At home, I think. And my kids were really surprised that we were so laid back because everybody was packing suitcases and going, you know, they were leaving. A lot of people were leaving. They had the car ready, they were going to go to the frontier, they were going to go into France or whatever, because they thought this is going to be the start of a civil war or whatever, you know. And we didn't take it like that, you know, just... I can't understand you. The two of you there, you're so calm that, you know, you should be... Everybody's doing this, you know, but yeah.
And how was it having children here? Actually having them was, I mean, I would think it would be difficult. I know for me, it's always a little difficult to communicate with a doctor here. I mean,
it was fantastic, actually.
You know, it was good?
Yeah. Okay. I've got 3 children, right? I had my daughter's the first one, and I had it by natural childbirth, where, you know, with all the exercises and everything. Fantastic. That was my experience.
That's good. And raising children here, how was it? Huh?
Raising children, it was okay, it was fine. They didn't have disposable nappies. Right? They had gauze nappies, which went into little plastic things, and you had to boil them so that they didn't get nappy rash. It was quite, it was quite hard work, right?
I guess being a housewife and a mother in those days was quite hard work, no? I imagine it was not so many conveniences, really, were there?
Well, there was, you know, fridges and washing machines and
all of that.
Dryers as well. I had a double, now I think of it like a monstrosity, but it was like a double machine and dried as well, so that was okay.
And then when Franco died, over the near future after that, what was the sense of how things were changing? Did you?
People were very happy with it, and but it went very slowly. You know, it had to go very slowly, but I think that was quite good. It was quite. People were scared, sort of, you know, like, don't give people too much freedom. Let's do it slowly, and there was that sort of. Thought about it, you know.
How does it seem to you that there was never any real accounting on an individual level, that people weren't really held responsible for what they'd done in the Franco years?
Well, they're doing that now.
Well, sort of, but...
you know, that now everybody's sort of saying they're sorry, and there's this, that and the other.
But of course, if you...
It was horrible. There was the Putsch Antique. Do you remember Putsch Antique? Mm-hmm. That was awful. That was really horrific. Yeah. You know, that was something that was sort of like the last, wasn't it? Sort of in the last era, but that was really horrific. Yeah. Yeah. That could happen, you know.
Mm-hmm. And a sense of Catalanismo, that also must have been increasing pretty much after Franco died, no? Was there
Yeah, now it's in full swing, but that was sort of gradual as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's only now that it's, really taken on.
Were you here when Tararellas came back?
Yeah, soccer key. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was nice. It was sort of moving. Yeah. I have a very strong Catalan feeling, because I think a lot of foreigners don't understand. They sort of think people are being awkward with the Catalan. Why don't they speak Spanish? This is Spain and all that, but they don't really get what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right?
In what sense?
In the sense that it's the people's language. It's their mother tongue. It is the mother tongue, and it's the language of Catalonia. So you can't sort of impose Castellano. People will, but you can't sort of say you've got to speak Spanish, And why don't they speak Spanish and all this Catalan thing? It's right.
And in those years before Franco died, when you were first here and courting, as it were, what would you do on a weekend, on a Saturday or on a Sunday for pleasure and relaxation?
Well, perhaps take a picnic lunch and go to La Floresta or somewhere like that. And to the merenderos, there was merenderos where you took your meal and you got a drink.
Huh.
And they had them in the beaches as well. You could take them to the beach, go to the beach, and there's all the tables. Then people would take their lunch and you'd buy a drink.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
I didn't know that. I never was in one of those.
You never went to a merendero?
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't know what you missed.
No, I think you're right. It sounds like it.
Well, pretty popular. You're sort of, that popular is it's the Spanish word. It's not. The English word would be, I don't know.
I don't know what you call it.
You know what I mean, don't you? Yes.
I've actually been to them in other places, but never. I mean, in Spain, but never here.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean. Huh. And was there much of a British society then when you came? Did you have?
Well, I didn't know about it because I got completely immersed in the Spanish side, right? And I was bringing up small kids as well. They didn't go to an English school, they went to a Spanish school. So I didn't have much contact at all. It's sort of in recent years that I've got a lot of contact. I mean, I'm on the board in the International Women's Club, in the British Society, but I didn't even know they existed.
In those years.
But that's not quite true. My father came over and my husband wanted to do something with him. He didn't know what to do with him. So he said, there's a British club. And it was down in Plaza Urquinaona. So he took him down there. And my dad came back and said, I'm not going there again. He said, a whole lot of old fogies sitting around playing cards and not very friendly. It really sounded horrific. Eh? It sounded horrible. Right? So.
Good. That's really about all the questions I had. Anything occur to you?
Really, no.
I think that's fine. I think that covers it, like the dew on the ground, as we say in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Is that where you're from?
That's where I'm from.
Right. Uh-huh. Okay.
Good.
On the metro, the smell was horrific of garlic, and people sort of smelt of that sort of food.
Yeah.
Sweaty, garlic. That's changed.
That's changed a lot.
That's changed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But that's what it was like.
Personal hygiene must have been a different story back then. Right?
Yeah, very much.
A different world.